Hi, I'm Amanda.linh and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I'm Amanda.linh, and so today I'm going to be showing you how to remake the Prada bag re-edition 2000 nylon mini bag. That's its full name. But so I'm going to show you how to make this. So I remade the bag, and then I also just added this little like wallet pouch thing clipped on the side for some personalization. I don't know. I'll walk through the steps of how I made this, and yeah. So I'll show you how to sew the bag and the little pouch, and I'll show you each step along the way. And I made my own sewing pattern, like my own template for the fabric. So I'll post a picture on the screen here and with all the measurements. So if you want to use the same pattern as me to remake the bag, you can pause the video and take a screenshot or something. So I hope you like this video, and let me know if you remake this bag. Yeah, try and follow along. I'll do my best.
So we're going to start by making the purse, and then we'll do the pouch last. I got these jeans from Savers. I just thrifted them, and I got the biggest size possible so I would have enough fabric. And this first step is optional, but I'm removing the patch from the denim to have a decor for the bag, like a little patch on the front of the bag. So first you want to flip the pants inside out, and using chalk, trace the template onto the fabric so that you can cut it out after. After I traced all the templates, I left it in 2 large pieces of fabric rather than cutting each individual piece out, because I'll be bleaching the fabric, so that will be better after so the edges don't fray. But so this step is optional, but this is where you would bleach or dye any of your fabric. After it's bleached and washed, just retrace the templates on and cut it out. And leave about 1 inch of seam allowance just in case, so that you can trim off fabric afterwards. We're going to start by sewing together the zipper piece for the purse. Start by pinning together the zipper piece and 1 strip of fabric that you cut for the side of the zipper, right side in. And for this you want to change the foot of your sewing machine to a zipper foot. My sewing machine came with this zipper foot. If not, you can buy one from like Jordan's Fabrics or Michael's or wherever. Stitch a straight stitch down the line of this fabric, and then repeat the same process with the other strip of fabric on the other side of the zipper. This should be what your completed zipper piece looks like, and you can trim any fabric left over. And this next step is optional. I'm taking the patch that I cut off of the jeans and I'm stitching onto the front piece of the bag for some decor. I'm just marking the center and now pinning it in place to stitch it on. And again, this step is completely optional if you have a patch, or you can always put a pin on your bag or whatever you have. Now we're going to sew the zipper piece to the sides of the bags, and starting with one side, just pin the edge of the zipper piece to the side of the bag, right sides facing together, and pin it along the curve, and then sew with a straight stitch along the curved line. And it's okay if there's some wrinkles, those won't really show up when you flip the bag inside out. And then repeat this process to the other side with the other side of the bag, just as you did before. Now once you flip your bag inside out, this is how it should look. Now you can trim off any extra fabric on the inside that is left over. Now we're going to sew on the bottom of the bag and the base of it. Pin the bottom of the bag to the one side of the bag. We'll start with one side and then sew the other side. So pin the right sides together along the edge And then on the corners, just turn the fabric and pin in place, and we'll sew over that in just a moment. Just sew a straight stitch along the sides, and when you get to the corner, just kind of fold the fabric flat as possible, and it's okay if there's a few wrinkles because that won't show up when you flip it inside out. If you need to, go slower around the corners and use the hand crank to get over wrinkles. Trim the thread and then repeat this to the other side of the bag. Again, just pinning together the sides and sewing along the edges. And at this point, you should be able to see the shape of the bag coming together. You can now trim off any extra fabric and threads from the edges of the bag and flip it inside out to make sure that there are no imperfections and it's all good. And if everything's right, then we can move on to sewing the strap. If the bag is sewn correctly, there should be 2 holes at the top corners of the bag at the edges of the zippers, as I showed here. And that's where we'll put in the strap, so don't worry if there's a hole. Now take the 2 pieces of fabric that you cut out for the strap and now pin them together, good sides together, as we've been doing, and just straight stitch on either edge. Trim off any extra fabric on the edges and then flip the piece inside out. And it may be a little tricky to flip it inside out, it might take a little bit of time. And then I ironed my piece. I didn't show it, but I ironed the strap flat, and then I did top stitch on the edges of the fabric. This top stitch is just to hold the fabric together and to make it look a little cleaner when I'm wearing the bag. Now with the bag inside out, put the strap through the hole at the edge of the zipper that we talked about earlier, and it should just fit right in and fit flat if it was sewn correctly and the pieces are the right measurements. The fabric should all lay flat and you can just sew right over it. Just be careful not to get on the zipper, and you shouldn't need a zipper foot for this. And then with the strap inside of the bag, pull the other end of the strap through that other hole on the other side of the bag, and make sure that the strap isn't tangled or twisted inside the bag, otherwise it'll be that way when you're completely done. Flip the bag right side out, and just again straight stitch it while the fabric is laying flat, as you did on the other side. Now flip the bag right side out and make sure there are no imperfections, and if there are any mistakes, you can use a seam ripper to take out any seams and fix it. I had to make a couple adjustments with the strap because it wasn't completely sewn in, but once it's all fixed, you can cut any extra fabric on the inside of the bag. Now we're going to work on making the keychain part of the bag that will attach the pouch to. I'm using a small swivel hook and D-ring for the keychain for the pieces to attach. Take one of the pieces of fabric that you cut out for the keychain and fold it like I'm showing you and straight stitch it all the way down. And now put the piece of fabric through the D-hook and fold it over as I'm showing you and sew it onto the outside of the strap of the bag. I stitched the keychain in a few places. I stitched it at the top where I put it on, and then I stitched it closer to the D-hook so that it would not fly around and it would stay close to the strap. And now we're going to move on to make the pouch. So I have these 3 pieces of fabric and a 5-inch zipper that I'll be using and the swivel hook that will hook onto the bag. So pin the zipper to the piece of fabric as we did with the zipper for the purse. So it's a very similar process except it's around and you have to kind of curve the fabric. Before we go on to pin the second piece of fabric on the other side of the zipper, just make it a keychain just as you did for the bag except with the swivel hook attachment, and sew onto the piece of fabric that will be one side of the pouch. Once you have this piece attached, just stitch it onto the other side of the fabric, and you might have to push the hook accessory out of the way, but you should be able to get it done. It shouldn't be too much in the way, it should fold over. So pin these pieces all together and then stitch one side at a time, just as we did for the zipper piece for the purse. And again, it may be a little bit trickier because you have to curve the fabric, so just go slow and make sure there's no extra fabric that you don't want sewn in underneath the needle. Now take this last piece of fabric that we're using for the bottom of the pouch and pin it on to the fabric just as we did with the bottom piece of the purse, and stitch it all around, just again as we did with the purse. And also sew the edge of the zipper to the edge of the fabric piece on either side of the zipper, if that makes sense. And then once you have everything stitched in place, trim off any extra fabric and flip the piece inside out to make sure there's no imperfections. Again, if there are any mistakes, just go back, flip it inside out and fix those, and then you should be done, and it should look something like this. Now you can just hook the pouch onto the bag and it's all done.
Gotta see things, see new places and brand new things. Gotta go places and do things, maybe to forget.
So I hope you really liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, and I hope you like how my bag turned out. Let me know if you end up remaking it or something. And give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it, and if you want more sewing videos. And you can follow me on my Instagram. I have outfit ideas and outfit inspo, just see what I'm doing. And I have an Instagram for my Depop where you can stay up to date on the projects I'm making and things I'm listing for sale. And also you can follow my Depop where I sell those projects. I might sell bags like this soon, so if you can't make one, maybe you don't have a sewing machine, I might be making some to sell. So stay updated on that, and subscribe if you like this video. I already said that, but yeah, subscribe. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.